Well, here we are, approaching the first round of the 2020 Stanley Cup Playoffs here, and wow, what a play-in series and round robin. Definitely, if you look at my previous video where I did my pre-bracket challenge video where I did my predictions for the round robin and the play-in series, the whole gauntlet, and going through the whole bracket, and picked my eventual champions for the conferences and who I ultimately think was going to win the Stanley Cup here. Now, this is going to be my official bracket challenge bracket that I'm going to submit for the NHL for my chance to win $1 million. So I'll give you first my official bracket that I'm submitting to the NHL, and just for fun, I'll put a disclaimer here for some bonus material. There's going to be a joke bracket that I'm going to make, and I'll explain when I get there on why it's a joke and how I approached that bracket, and maybe just to compare which bracket was more accurate and right on champions and who advanced or any upsets that happened here. So what a playoffs that we've had here. These are definitely insane, crazy times with COVID-19, and it's the second week of August. I look at the calendar and it's like we're just talking about the Stanley Cup Playoffs beginning. So here is my bracket challenge that I'm going to attempt to win $1 million. Hopefully it's $1 million US here, which can add another $200,000. So when it comes to the Eastern Conference here, we have the Philadelphia Flyers and the Montreal Canadiens. Yeah, the Montreal Canadiens, they pulled off the upset against the Pittsburgh Penguins. I definitely find this would be an interesting matchup, and maybe a little bit of a throwback to in the 70s when Montreal and Philadelphia had their glory here. But it's not going to happen. I can't think the other Philadelphia or the other Pennsylvania team is going to pull off the upset. So I got Philadelphia advancing, and I put my bonus question, I say 6 games. So I have Philadelphia advancing over the Montreal Canadiens, but I'll give Montreal a couple games. The next series, well, let's do it again. Is it going to be deja vu for the Tampa Bay Lightning and the Columbus Blue Jackets? As the Columbus Blue Jackets, they're definitely high on knocking off the Toronto Maple Leafs and crushing the dreams of Leaf Nation here. And then the Tampa Bay Lightning, they look like they might be more on a mission here. As last year they got swept by the Columbus Blue Jackets in the first round. Do I think it's going to happen again? And if you look in the last video or my pre-bracket challenge, I had the Tampa Bay Lightning winning the Stanley Cup. Do I still like the Tampa Bay Lightning to at least get out of the first round and play Columbus again? Actually, I do have the Tampa Bay Lightning advancing against the Columbus Blue Jackets, as I think the Tampa Bay Lightning will definitely put more of a fight with the Columbus Blue Jackets. I think we'll need all 7 games. So I got Tampa Bay in 7 over the Columbus Blue Jackets. Now the next series here, called the Barry Trotz Bowl, Barry Trotz Battle, as Barry Trotz used to coach the Washington Capitals. Now he's coaching the New York Islanders. So the Washington Capitals and the New York Islanders are going to be playing in the other series here. And I just still like the Washington Capitals, despite maybe still having a few question marks on the future of their team. But you still got Alexander Ovechkin. I mean, Barry Trotz will definitely still might have some insight on the Washington Capitals. However, I said the Washington Capitals definitely looked okay in the round robin. But the New York Islanders, they had an easy time with the Florida Panthers, so who's going to be a little more battle-tested remains to be seen. But I have the Washington Capitals advancing in 7 games, so definitely a couple dandies here. Now, what's left here is the Boston Bruins and the Carolina Hurricanes. If you look in the pre-bracket video, I actually thought the New York Rangers might have upset the Carolina Hurricanes based on the season series, but all 2020 of these playoffs, you could throw all that out in the garbage here. But the Carolina Hurricanes definitely looked pretty convincingly when they swept the New York Rangers in their play-in series. Well, the Boston Bruins, they didn't look good against the round robin. But Boston and Carolina, they always seem to have dandy series. And they had a nice history. And if you recall, last year, the Carolina Hurricanes and the Boston Bruins, they met in the conference championship where the Bruins swept them. I'm going to say for Carolina reasons, I'm going to take my take from the hockey guy and the fact that he always said Vegas reasons here, is the Carolina Hurricanes. They either don't make the playoffs or they go far. So for Carolina reasons and the fact that they look good against the Rangers and Boston didn't, I got the Carolina Hurricanes moving on. But I think this will end all 7 games, and I think we'll be in for a great series. So before we look at the second round in the Eastern Conference, let's shift our focus out west here. So we have the first series here. We've got the Vegas Golden Knights. They're taking on the Chicago Blackhawks. Yeah, the Chicago Blackhawks. They pulled off the upset. I don't feel too bad about it, to be honest with you, as a Calgary Flames fan. They pulled off the upset against the Edmonton Oilers, despite the fact that Connor McDavid, he had 9 points in 4 games. How long before the Edmonton Oilers are going to have to worry about a disgruntled Connor McDavid on? Yeah, it's nice to make $12 million, but I want to win. But Vegas and Chicago. Do I see an upset in there? I do not. I have the Vegas Golden Knights moving on, even though they got the top seed in the round robin. I don't think they're a good balanced team, but I think they have what it takes to still take out core pieces of the Chicago Blackhawks, with Vegas being out top. I give Vegas 6 games because I'll give Chicago a couple games with Taves and Kane and how good Crawford could play. Because Vegas also, they played Robin Lettermore and Marc-Andre Fleury, but I think Vegas is too good. In Chicago, I would say just be satisfied with getting here, wherein they had kind of a second chance here. So the next series, we had the Colorado Avalanche and the Arizona Coyotes. The Arizona Coyotes really made this a Wild West when I would say it was a slight upset. I mean, when I looked at the Nashville and Arizona, I could have saw that series went either way. And I believe in my pre-bracket video, I did pick Nashville to win in 5, and it was for overtime here. But I like Colorado, and if you go back in that video there, I had Colorado winning the West, and I still think Colorado is the best team in the Western Conference in my mind here. And I think they're ready to take the next step here. I think this is a mismatch. So I got Colorado advancing in 5 games here. So far, no upsets. They can say an upset in the Western Conference here. So the next series here, well, I made a full video previewing the Dallas Stars and the Calgary Flames here. And I definitely like this matchup as a Calgary Flames fan, based on how we match up against the Dallas Stars and the fact that how Calgary looked in the play-in series against the Winnipeg Jets. While the Dallas Stars, they looked at best in the round robin there, and Dallas is always looked upon as kind of the dark horse team. So in this one, if you can call it an upset, I guess you could say it's a little bit of an upset, but Calgary might have underachieved, and they still have something to play for after last season, as I always like to say, best regular season in a generation. I do have my Calgary Flames moving on against the Dallas Stars in 6 games. I think it'll be a nice series, but Calgary in 6. Which leaves the last series here. The St. Louis Blues and the Vancouver Canucks. You got the defending Stanley Cup champions, but the Stanley Cup champions, the defending Stanley Cup champions of last year, where I needed my second chance bracket, where I actually did have St. Louis beat Boston in the second chance bracket. The first bracket, like most hockey fans, went bye-bye. It bursted in flames. And that's why the NHL had that second chance bracket. You got to wonder if this will happen again this year, because there could still probably going to be some upsets. And what I'm saying is probably going to be a bunch of fluff here in a couple of weeks. But hey, I'm going to try. That's why it's $1 million. The NHL's thinking, we're confident no one's going to pick all the brackets right and win $1 million. But St. Louis didn't look so good in the round robin. Well, the Vancouver Canucks, they look like a young team that has nothing to play for. They're playing loose. and they're very happy that they knocked off the Minnesota Wild in their play-in series, because Vancouver almost had kind of a second chance. They looked like they were slipping going down the stretch before the pause. So in this series, I actually do have the Vancouver Canucks beating the St. Louis Blues in 7 games here, and I would say that would definitely be more of an upset than, let's say, Calgary beating Dallas here. So let's go back into the Eastern Conference now that I have made my picks from the first round here. So in the second round, you would set up, if it all happens, you would have Philadelphia play the Carolina Hurricanes, and then the Tampa Bay Lightning playing the Washington Capitals here. When it comes to the Philadelphia Flyers and the Carolina Hurricanes here, I like the Philadelphia Flyers. They kind of remind me of the Colorado Avalanche last season here, 18-19, where they were still a young team that looked like they were up and coming and finally found their goalie here. So I like the Philadelphia Flyers, who probably be a great series if it happens with Philadelphia and Carolina here. But I do have the Orange Crush going on a nice run here to get out of that series here. It doesn't ask for a number of games, but I would say it would be a 6-7 game series with the Philadelphia Carolina in the second round here. And then the other two teams, I had the Tampa Bay Lightning and the Washington Capitals here. I keep thinking Tampa Bay. I still think they're on a mission this year after what happened last year. And, you know, even if Victor Hedman and Steven Stamkos, they still got Alex Killorn and Johnson there and Kucherov and then Vasilevsky in net. I mean, Tampa Bay, I still think it's a pretty deep team. And then maybe whenever Stamkos can come back here, he also has to prove himself that he can play the big games here. So I do like the Tampa Bay Lightning over the Washington Capitals, as Washington looks like that they're slowly declining here, as much as it would be awesome to see Alexander Ovechkin continue on and maybe win another Stanley Cup here. I got Tampa Bay moving on in that case here. So if you go back out west here, if it happens here, I would also like this series, if it happens, the Vegas Golden Knights taking on my Calgary Flames here. Depending on what happens in both those series here, but I would say in the 7-game series here, I could see if the Calgary Flames, let's say, beat the Dallas Stars in the way that I think they could here, and how they match up with the Vegas Golden Knights, I could see that probably be a great series that could go to 7 games. In that series, I actually would maybe a little bit of favoritism, or just think if Calgary can get out of the first round. And historically, if they can actually get out of the first round, they usually go on a nice run here. I got the Calgary Flames going into the third round here. And then when it comes to the second round here, you got Colorado and Vancouver here. As great as Vancouver being a young up-and-coming team here, and I do like their future right now. I'm seeing it on the outside here. And then let's say if Calgary moves on in the second round here, it definitely would have been nice to have a Calgary-Vancouver third round here, as Calgary and Vancouver have only played each other in the first round here. However, I'm still sticking with Colorado. I'm thinking being one of the best teams in the Western Conference, or the ET team to beat in the Western Conference. So I got Colorado advancing in this case here. So the Final Four here, when it's all done here, while the Eastern Conference teams will pack up and move shop to Edmonton here. I got the Philadelphia Flyers and the Tampa Bay Lightning there. And for the record, if you look in my pre-bracket video, I still actually had Philadelphia and Tampa Bay in the Eastern Conference Final here. And like I say, this will almost be like a flashback to 2004 when those two teams played each other. But I still think, in this case, I would still have the Tampa Bay Lightning winning the Eastern Conference here. And then in the West here, well, definitely would still be another great matchup, you know, facing Colorado, but this time later in the playoffs here. However, if this actually happened, I would still be proud of the Flames if we get to the Western Conference Final here, but I don't think the Flames would be just there yet in terms of being the top team in the West. So I do have Colorado still advancing into the Stanley Cup Final, and I still maintain Tampa Bay and Colorado meeting in the Stanley Cup Finals in my official bracket that I'm going to submit in the bracket challenge here, but it would definitely be a great experience for my Calgary Flames if they do actually get to the conference championship. Maybe in a couple of years, the Calgary Flames would be winning the Stanley Cup here. So then ultimately, I got the Tampa Bay Lightning and the Colorado Avalanche still in the Stanley Cup Final here. Who did I pick to win the Stanley Cup? I still like the Tampa Bay Lightning to win the Stanley Cup here. And for my goals scored here, I put 32 goals because I would assume it would take 7 games for Tampa Bay in Colorado to meet in the Stanley Cup final here. So that's my official bracket that I'm going to submit here. Is I do still have Tampa Bay over the Colorado Avalanche here, but and that seems to be the consensus. Actually, most hockey writers say here. So the danger with that is that that's not going to happen. And then hopefully, if it does happen, it'd be nice to win $1 million. Who can use $1 million here? So that's going to be my official bracket here. And as the rules here, you can only submit one bracket. So now, here is my bonus material. You always hear stories in the U.S., the March Madness and submitting brackets here. It's even more of a bigger bracket when you have 64 teams competing for the NCAA Men's Basketball Championship. The one story you always hear is that, office pools here, guys always know sports and always proud about picking upsets or, this and know that. It's always that lady in the office that she knows absolutely nothing about sports, absolutely nothing about the teams, but then she always seems to win that bracket. She gets coerced to put some money in the pool and then thinking, ooh, I'll put some money in and hopefully win some more money here. So she makes her picks based on, team colors, that name sounds good, or if that guy looks cute on the team. So this joke bracket for my bonus material here is I'm going to do my Jane Smith NHL bracket challenge. I just pick a generic name, I'd say Jane Smith. She's a lady that knows nothing about sports, isn't a sports fan, but she'll somehow win this. So here's my Jane Smith NHL bracket challenge here. So I'm going to think like her, pick my teams based on, what I mentioned, colors, name, or that guy looks cute. So in the Eastern Conference round robin here, I would think the Montreal Canadiens will win this one in 6 games. Why would I think Jane Smith will pick Montreal over Philadelphia here? So she would like the colors of red and blue a lot more. And then she kind of looked it up. She would probably like UP a little more than Gritty if she did some extra research here. And she probably would think that Carey Price and Shea Weber looks more staunchy of a guy. So she'll pick the Montreal Canadiens. And then she'll just say here, oh, Canadiens. Even though not knowing that this could be the upset here. And she'll pick 6 games because she likes the number 6. And so when it comes to the Columbus Blue Jackets Tampa Bay Lightning series, she will pick the Blue Jackets because Blue Jackets, she'll think of fashion, and Lightning is bad and dangerous. So she'll pick the Columbus Blue Jackets, and she'll just take 6 games because she likes the number 6. Washington, New York Islanders, she probably would pick the Washington Capitals because she'll remember, oh yeah, Ovechkin plays for that team, and he had funny commercials. And she likes red and blue better than the Islanders colors here. So she'll pick the Washington Capitals in 7 games here. And then when it comes to the Boston, Carolina here, she would pick the Boston Bruins because she thinks Bear, Fuzzy, Hurricane's bad, right? And she'll say Boston in 5. So that's the first round. So the Jane Smith bracket, she'll have Montreal, Columbus, Washington, and Boston. If I'm thinking like that lady that knows nothing about sports, just based on colors or team name. So go to the Western Conference here. You got the Vegas Golden Knights, Chicago Blackhawks. She'll pick Vegas because she'll have great memories of being in Vegas. Vegas in 4. So that's why she'll pick Vegas. Arizona Coyotes and Colorado Avalanche here. She would pick Arizona Coyotes because Colorado Avalanche bad, dangerous. Coyotes, oh, they look so cute when they're young. And then she'll say Arizona 6 because she likes the number 6. Dallas Stars, Calgary Flames, well, she'll pick Dallas Stars because she always thinks glamour, being a star here. Fire, bad. So she'll have Dallas in 5 because fire is bad. And then the last series here, she also likes the color blue. So you got the Vancouver Canucks and St. Louis Blues here. She's torn. She'll be torn with this. It's because she likes the color blue, but generally these ladies also like marine. So she'll take the Vancouver Canucks because of the orca. So, and she'll kind of hear Canada, Canucks, orca. I like whale watching. So she'll put Vancouver in 7 here. So in the West Coast, you'll have Vegas, Arizona, Dallas, and Vancouver. So now if we go into round 2 here, now this is where she'll have to really make a decision. Washington, Montreal. If this happened, that would be in the second round, because you get red and blue. She likes those colors. Both of those teams wear those colors. So where would she go? She would like the sense of humor of Alexander Ovechkin over Carey Price and Shea Weber. She'll pick Washington. And then when it comes to Columbus and Boston, well, she's still fixed on Blue Jackets over Bears. And now when it comes to Jackets and Bears, she would like the Jacket and don't want to think about Animal being hurt. So she'll take Columbus. And then when it comes to the second round here, Vegas and Arizona, well, she's still fixed on Vegas, so she'll pick Vegas. And then the Dallas Stars, Vancouver Canucks, well, she still thinks she's glamorous in the Star, so she'll take Dallas, even though she'll oversee that over whale watching. So in the Conference Championship, you got Washington, Columbus, Vegas, and Dallas. She'll probably still like the sense of humor of Alexander Ovechkin over Columbus and Blue Jackets, so she'll take Washington. And she's still fixated on Vegas, so Vegas will advance here. And then, if this happens, you'll have Vegas and Washington meet each other in the Stanley Cup Finals. And she's like, oh, neat, they met a couple years ago. But I like Vegas because it's Vegas, so I'll take Vegas. So that's my Gene Smith bracket challenge. So if this all comes to fruition there definitely could be some upsets. And we would have a rematch of the Stanley Cup Final that happened 2 years ago. Except the Vegas Golden Knights would be on the right end of it this time. And Alexander Ovechkin will not. And maybe she'll think, he's funny, but it's Vegas. I'm fixated on Vegas. So that's my joke bracket. That's my disclaimer. I'm just trying to think how that lady, how she makes her March Madness brackets and do well and beat all sports fans. So that's my attempt at it. It's kind of a bonus attempt at comedy inside the sports video here. So, which bracket do you like better? Do you like my actual bracket that I think as an objective hockey fan here? Or do you like my Jane Smith bracket where I'm thinking she picks her team based on some colors? She had some time to figure out colors. She looks at the names and obviously she'll like the nice names over the mean names. And she had some time to look at some of the players. As some of the players that I mentioned, Alexander Ovechkin definitely was in some funny commercials in his earlier days there. And, you see Carey Price in a commercial. And so, yeah, that's my bracket challenge. My actual bracket and my joke bracket here. So, anyway, if you want to follow along with this Calgary sports fan's journey, home of the Flames, Hitmen, Roughnecks, and Stampeders, I mostly talk Calgary sports on my channel, but I also do personal vlogs, attempt at comedy, which I sort of tucked that in this video, just because I keep thinking of that March Madness and how that lady always seems to win. So I just think it'd be funny if I just did it for the video and see how it works. And then I also share my experience on the road as a sporting man here. So if it also think you'd be interested to watch to follow along with this Calgary sports fan's journey, you know what you should do. I also have my other social media links down in the description below there. So who do you like to win the Stanley Cup? Who do you like to go far? Will there be any upsets? Or could we be doing this in a couple weeks crying about how bad the bracket are? And maybe I would go look at this Gene Smith one as a backup, because if major upsets happen again, would the NHL give us a second chance again like last year? Who knows? But I give you my picks. What are your picks? And definitely looking forward to the rest of these playoffs under these very unusual circumstances. And as I say, I'll say go Flames go, and I'll see you in the next video.